Welcome back. Today we're going to look at building our first mob. Gotta have something to kill. But first we need to update OWS again. There's a bug fix for gameplay abilities. It's an important one, so you're going to want to grab that. It's 2018-0808. So once we have that, we go like we always do, jump into plugins, dump OWS plugin, come back to the zip file, plugins, copy this folder, and paste it in. And that's all we're going to need to do to update it. So once that's done, load up our U project. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start out by building a basic mob with AI. And then later we're going to build a mob spawner for the mob. And then after that, we will improve the AI of our mob. So this may span a few videos. There's a lot of work. So we're going to start with building the basic mob. First thing we want to do is we want to go in to our editor preferences. And we want to enable the environment querying system. We're going to end up using this. Maybe not today, but let's get that turned on. Okay, I'm going to load levels here. So now we're going to need to refactor our character. What we've got is we've got this third-person character ability, which is the player, but what we'd really like is to have a base class that shares common functionality between the player, which is controlled by a human, and the mobs, which are controlled by AI controllers. And then from that, we'll branch out two different classes, one for the players, one for the mobs. So what we need to do is we need to build a new blueprint class, and it needs to be based off OWS character with abilities. I'm just going to call this our base character. Okay, so now what we can do is we can go over to our third person character with abilities, and we can reparent to our base character. And it looks good. We're going to have to start moving some of this functionality. Here's one right here. We're going to have to move this functionality into the base class. We're going to have to move our health bar into the base class, but we're going to come back. We're going to come back and do that a little bit later. Okay, so the other thing that I've done here that you might want to stop the video and move over. Actually, I haven't done it yet to this one, so I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to move it over. What we're going to do is we're going to grab Paragon Rampage. Okay, we've added Paragon Rampage to our project. We're going to use this as our mob. So I'm going to go over here to third person BP and I'm going to create a new folder, mob. And now we need to create a new blueprint class, and we need to base it off of our base character. And we'll just call that mob. There we go. We're also going to need an AI controller. We'll use this Detour crowd one. Later we'll use that. So mob AI controller, and we'll load up our mob. And we will start off by setting, I always forget this one, so we're going to do it early this time, the AI controller class for our mob to mob AI controller. If you don't do this, your AI controller is not going to auto-possess it. So, okay, now we want to go to mesh here. We're going to add Rampage. Okay. And I think I found for our capsule 110 worked pretty good. And for our mesh, think we got it -110 and rotation -90 was pretty good. And we'll go here and set his, luckily, with the latest update, they now have anim blueprints for all these guys automatically, so we'll start with the default one. We created a custom one for Seraph because at the time there wasn't an animation blueprint, but as of that last update, there is now, so got our Rampage. Awesome. Okay, I want to make him a little bit faster. He is. Okay, he's 600. Want him to be able to catch us, and I believe we're set to 400. So he does go a little bit quicker than us, which is cool. And okay, so let's go and create our behavior tree. So here we go. So we've got behavior tree, mob, BT, and we're going to need a blackboard, artificial intelligence blackboard, mob, BB. And we're going to have to hook these two together. It'll default to this previous one that was in the project. We're switching it. And we can use these to switch back and forth between the two now. Okay, we need some keys. So we're going to start off with a simple WoW style AI. So we're going to need a home location. So I can go back to that. It's also going to do some kind of like patrolling. So we're going to need a move to point. And we're also going to need an object. Nope, not a rotator. We're going to need an object. And we'll just call this target. And the target is going to be of type our base character, right? So now anytime that we want to handle something that could happen to a player or a mob, we can use the base class to handle that functionality. So in this case, if in the future we want mobs to be able to attack mobs, no problem, because we're using our base character rather than third-person character with abilities. Now, as you noticed, some of the stuff we've done in the past, we've been casting a third-person character with abilities. We're going to have to go through and fix that and repoint it to our base character. So that'll be some of the work that we're doing. Okay, we're going to come here, create a selector, and we're going to need a few sequences. This one is going to be for if there's a target. This one is going to be if there is a move to point, and this one is going to be if there's neither. Okay, so we got to make sure this one doesn't get called if the target is set. So we're going to add a decorator, blackboard, and we're going to say target is not set, and observer reports is both. So what that's doing here is it's basically saying this only is going to get called when target is not set. And the abort basically means, hey, this thing, as soon as the target is set, get out of here. Jump back up to the selector, get out of here. If you don't do that with the observer aborts, what's going to end up happening is it's going to have to finish the rest of its sequence before it can switch over to it chasing you down. So let's see here. We're going to do move to, and it's going to move to target. Do an acceptance radius of, say, 50. And that should be good to begin with. This one is if the target is set. So we're going to add a decorator, blackboard. Okay. We don't have to abort this one, but we're going to say target is set. And this one in the middle here needs 2. So we're going to add a blackboard. We're going to add another blackboard. So this one is if move to point is set, but target is not set, and we want to abort out on that. Because basically we want both of these to sit here and say, hey, when you get a target, go for it. Go for it. So let's see what we've got next here. Okay, so once we move to the target, we're going to rotate to face the target. And I don't know, we'll try maybe 30. This guy's got a big swing. Okay, we're going to need to build an attack task here. So we're going to start to build some of our own tasks. So we're going to build one here that does a attack, and then let's see, we'll wait, let's say after his, between attacks, he's going to wait 1.5 seconds with a random deviation. It probably should be 2.5 with a deviation of 0.5. We'll try that for now. Okay, for this one we're going to move to a point, move to, and it doesn't have to get that close, move to point. Okay, and we're going to wait when they get to the point. Kind of just stand there and look around. We'll do 5 with a deviation of 3. So basically what that does is it means it could be as low as 5 minus 3, which is 2, up to 5 plus 3, which is 8. So 2 to 8 seconds of standing, looking around, playing the idle animation. Okay, after we're going to need a task here to find a point to go to, and we're going to need to do the same thing here, find a point to go to. We'll add a weight here. A lot of times if you don't have any weights, a lot of times what ends up happening is that your behavior tree just starts flashing constantly, and that kills performance. So a lot of times you want to just throw some weights in there so it has something to do between decisions. But I think that's a pretty good start there. We need to jump into creating a task. So we're going to go to blueprint class. We're going to type task, and we want this task blueprint base. BT task. Find point in radius of home. Okay, so what we got to do here, this one's a confusing one. Hold on, we got to override, receive, execute. So a confusing one here is it's a zoning actor. This one gets me every time. It is actually the AI controller. So if you try to cast that to the mob, it will cast fail. Okay, so get Blackboard. Get value as vector. Make literal name. And remember that one we want to grab is home location. We'll jump back over here just to make sure that's what we called it. Typos and minor issues are things that stop stuff from working. Get random reachable point in radius. There's the origin. And for the radius, let's make this controllable. So let's say radius and float. And we'll maybe set a default of like 1,000, 10 meters. And we'll grab that here. And we'll make it public so we can set it from the behavior tree task. Okay, so set Blackboard value as vector. This is going to be the move to point. So we now need to do a move to point. But this is a key selector. Blackboard key selector. It's a special type. And it's going to allow us to select it from the behavior tree. And we grab that here so that that's what we're setting. The value that we find from random reachable point in radius goes here. And to finish off, it is important to do finish execute. Without this, the behavior tree will stop running. We're going to tell it it's a success. We're also going to go over here so that it doesn't get stuck. And on cast failed, we're going to fire. I would also probably throw a print string in here, just so you know if that's failing. But it looks like we got a pretty good task there. Oh, let's make this public too. Pretty good task. So now we should be able to go over to our behavior tree, BT, and move to point is what we're setting, and we'll stick with 1,000 for now. We're also going to throw this over here as well, so that it keeps finding a new point. And that should be pretty good. Okay, so now we got to go deal with the attack. But at this point, I'd kind of like to see it working. It's good to not do too much at the same time. So let's drop down this mob. Okay, but he's not going to move. He's not going to move around. And the reason he's not going to move around is we don't have a Navmesh. So we need this Navmesh bounds volume. It's going to take a little while to calculate, so I'm actually going to make it not too big. So you can see I've got a fairly small playable area. You can press P to see what's reachable. The green's reachable. You can see some areas where it's not reachable, which that works pretty good. So it kind of gives us a good navigable area. You can, I think there's a setting. Maybe not. I was thinking there was an unbound setting, but nah, you gotta set it. So you'll have to set it big enough to cover the whole area. But for now, we're just gonna use this small play area. Okay, so now we're gonna hit P again because that green's annoying. And now, potentially when we launch in, you might start running around. Make sure we're still on run dedicated server. We're gonna hit play. And look at this. We are not at a good starting point. Yeah, let's fix that. So we need to fix the starting point on our game mode. So I think we dropped this this is our starting point. If you don't have one, just go grab an empty actor so you can get a location in the world to start. And we're going to go into blueprints, third person game mode. We're going to copy these values into here. And remember, of course, the debug character name is the character you want to test with. You probably do not have a test for demo. But if you don't have one, when your account's created, it should create a character called test automatically. So you can drop that in there. Okay, let's see if that fixes it. There we go, a little bit better. Now let's see if he starts finding points to run to. Oh, you know what? We did not start running his behavior tree. So let's go back to mob, AI controller, and begin play, and run behavior tree. That's important. Let's see if there's anything else. Anything else we forgot? Yeah, we want to set his home location too. So let's do that. Let's create a variable to hold our character reference. We don't have to keep casting to it. Object reference. And then let's cast to mob. Oh, that's not what we want. We want get controlled pawn. Okay, and we're going to set it. We'll be using this in other places later, so it's good for us to have it. And now what we're going to do is we'll grab this mob, get actor location, and we need to do blackboard. Get the blackboard. That's not the one I want. Blackboard. There we go. We want this one. And set. Drag off. Set value as vector. And make literal. And what we're doing is we're going to set the home location. Value of that vector. Because we're going to need that to generate those points that he needs. Also, while we're at it, create a custom event, set target. We'll need this soon, and we're going to use, let's see, target, and it's going to need to be our base character reference, and we're going to do get blackboard again. But this time we're going to set value as object. That'll be the object. And make literal is target. And as we did before, we'll jump back over here and make sure that's what we called it. We did. Okay, so we're pretty good on that. Good. Okay, let's see how he's looking now. Oh, look at that. He's patrolling around. And if we were to pull up this, we can watch what he's doing. He's waiting. He found a new point really fast. Doing the move 2, waiting. He's going to find a new point. Find a new point. At some point we may want to modify this so that there's a minimum radius too, so he doesn't just move just a little bit. So we could do some different things. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now I got to get him figuring out where we are and come after us, because that's what we want. So let's go here to our mob, and we are going to add the pawn sensing component. This thing's really great. Okay, and for now we'll take the defaults, but we want to say that when we see somebody, we need to do something. Okay, so we see somebody, cast to our base character, and we're going to get the controller, cast to mob AI controller, okay, and we're going to call that set target that we just created, and we're going to pass in who we found. Okay. That should work. while we're here, get ready for gameplay abilities. We're going to go create a function, grant default abilities, and we're going to grant ability. We'll have to go create one for him to swing, but we will call that here, grant default abilities. Got to make sure we don't forget to come back and set that ability in the grant. When I was testing, that was a mistake I made, so we'll try not to make that mistake again. Okay, so now we've got this set target, and now he should potentially chase us, because he should be able to sense us. Oh, look at that, he's coming for us. He's coming for us. So we just need to give him an attack. Okay, so he already has an animontage with the new Paragon character, which is kind of cool. We don't have to go set that up. But let's create a new folder in abilities for Rampage. Okay, and let's go to gameplay abilities. And gameplay abilities the default, and I'm going to call it Rampage Attack. Okay, and let's build out this ability. It's going to be fairly simple at this point. Just going to get him swinging. And play montage and wait. And I believe it is attack biped melee A. And we want it to play through to the end. And we'll grab these to end ability. Okay, and let's take a look at class defaults here. We need to switch to instance per actor, and we do not want to respect the server remote ability to cancel. And instead of local predicted, because it's AI, it's running server initiated, because it starts on the server. And that's probably good enough for now. So now we need to go back to the mob. We need to create another task, another behavior tree task for attacking. So blueprint base, BT attack. And hold on. Task. There we go. Make sure my naming is good. Okay, so what we're going to do here is similar to before. We're going to override execute, and we're going to grab this. So we're casting to the AI controller. We're going to get the controlled pawn, and we're going to cast that to a mob. We're going to get the ability system component, and we're going to call try activate ability by class. And we're going to make this ability where we can pick it. So first let's set up the finish execute. And this is a success. We also need to run these cast faileds to failure. Again, I would add some print strings just to let you know, help so you don't have to spend so much time chasing stuff down. But this is called a gameplay ability class reference. So ability to activate. This will allow us to reuse this. gameplay ability. It's this one right here, just gameplay ability. And it's a class reference, not an object reference. We'll be setting that in the task itself. Okay, there we go. And back to here. Here's where we wanted to put that task. Okay, and then what we're going to do, we didn't make that public. So I'm going to come back here, make that public, compile, save, and ability to activate, and I think it's Rampage Attack. And let's give it some room. Okay, let's see what we get. So now he should come at us, and he should swing. Oh, you know what we did? You know what we did? And I said we weren't going to do it, and we did it anyway. Do you remember? Remember what we missed? Come back over into mob, grant default abilities. We never granted the Rampage Attack. It's a very common mistake I make. So if your ability is not activating, there's a good chance you didn't grant the ability. Remember also that the abilities do have to be granted on the server side. Okay, let's see if that did it. See if he notices us. Oh, he's coming. He's going to get us. And look at that. There we go. We now have the basics of a mob that is going to chase us endlessly and swing at us. Okay, as you can see, there's some problems here, of course. He doesn't have the health bar over his head. We can't currently damage him. So there's some other stuff we have to do, but I think this is a good spot for us to stop in part 1 of this mob. So next time we come back, we'll move more of that shared functionality down to the R base character class. Just going to make it so we can attack him, and he has some problems with death mechanics too. He's missing a physics asset, so we'll go generate that, and we'll get the rest of this going. Until then, see ya.